All right, so in terms of famous constant terms, probably pi would be the winner. That if you ask somebody what is the value of pi, most people would be able to say 3.14. But there's another constant number that we use in math quite often, which is the letter e, and so we're going to talk about that today. And so in order to do that, we have to understand what a factorial is. And so the factorial is the product of all the positive integers from 1 to the given number. So for example, when we say 6 factorial, we're talking about 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So it's not saying 6 really loud, it's saying 6 factorial. And then we have a definition that 0 factorial is equal to 1. So the number e is found by this series of, it's essentially 1 over 0 factorial plus 1 over 1 factorial plus 1 over 2 factorial, etc. And as you get further and further out, you get closer and closer to what e is. And just like pi, e is not rational. And so it is a constant and it never changes. And so the value of e is approximately 2.717. So we have formulas that we use with e's. So similar to what we did with the logarithm, not the logarithms, but the exponential functions that we talked about in the previous section, we have some with e as well. So exponential growth and decay, we have n is equal to n sub 0 e to the k, or your Algebra 2 book might have called it y is equal to next. And this is where n is the final amount, n sub 0 or the final amount could have been n or y. N sub 0 is your initial or original amount. K is your constant of growth or decay. So what decides if it's growing or decaying is the sign. So if the K value is positive, then you're talking about growth and your values are getting larger. If things are dying off, decaying, then that means that the growth is negative and your numbers should be getting smaller. And then T is representing time. And notice they weren't specific because time could be in years or it could be in minutes. It depends on what your rate of growth or decay is in. So if we take a look at this example, it's saying that T is time in hours. And so it says, at what rate does this type of bacteria reproduce? So take a moment to look at the problem and figure out what would represent the rate of growth or decay, or in this case with reproduction, that would be growth. And so then hopefully you can see that this would have been n is equal to n sub 0 times e to the kt, where k is your rate of growth or decay. And so that means that my growth is at a rate of 0.271 or 27.1%. Either answer was fine because they didn't specify. So then take a moment for the next one. What is the initial number of bacteria? So my initial amount is my n sub 0. So that is this amount in front of the e. So that means that my initial amount is going to be 100 bacteria. And then the question is saying find P of 5. So what this is really saying is how much bacteria will we have after 5 hours? So that means we're going to type in 100 times e to the 0.271 t, but t is now 5 hours. And so you're going to want to put parentheses around that exponent. So it's 100 times, and then you'll notice there's this ln right here. So that stands for natural log. And then right above ln is the e to the x power. So we're going to go second natural log. And that gets me that e to the power of parentheses 0.271 times 5. Close my parentheses. And so starting with 100 bacteria, after 5 hours, we have 388 bacteria. So take a moment and pause the video and see if you can find the remaining 3. All right, so I had a little bit of technical difficulties, but hopefully you took a moment to try and find these 3 values. So coming over here, we would have 100 times e e to the 0.271 times 10. And so when we plug that in, again, a lot of this is understanding the formula, and some of it is understanding your calculator. So 100 times second natural log, and then make sure there's a parenthesis in there, and we get 2.71 times 10. And we end up with 1,503 bacteria. So notice it's not twice as much for twice as many hours because it is an exponential function. So then looking at E, we're going to do 100 times e to the 0.271 times 24. So second natural log, 0.271 times 24 gives me, and now we're looking at 66,781 bacteria. And that's after just one day. And so then looking at the next one, this is after 3 days. We're going to do 100 times e to the 0.271 times 72. And so in here we got 100 times e to the 0.271 times 72. And again, this is 3 days. And now we no longer have it in regular form. Notice there's this little 10 over here. So that means I have 3.0 times 10 to the 10th power, or 3 with 10 zeros. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're looking at 30 billion bacteria after just 3 days if nothing stops that rate of growth. So another formula that you'll see E used in is interest compounded continuously. So we call it A is equal to PERT. And so A is going to be your final amount. P is going to be the principal amount that you put in the bank or the initial amount. R is going to be your annual interest rate, and T is time in years. So what I want you to notice is this formula is exactly the same as the previous formula, but now we're guaranteeing that the R is in annual periods, and so your time does have to be in years. So the question says, suppose Karen deposits $1,500 into a savings account. So let me highlight that real quick. That earns 6.75% interest. And then the next part says compounded continuously. So that is different than what we said the day before, where it said compounded quarterly or compounded monthly. So it says she plans to withdraw the money in 6 years. Notice she hasn't added any money along the way. And she wants to make a $2,500 down payment on a car. And it says, will there be enough funds in Karen's account after the 6 years to meet her goal? So in this question, my principal is $1,500. My rate is going to be 0.0675, moving that decimal to the left 2 places. Compounded continuously means I'm going to use my E formula. And the time is in 6 years. And she wants to know, will she have enough to have the new amount of $2,500 to make the down payment on her car? Okay. So we're going to hold on to that information and just use this up here. So we're going to say the amount of money she has is $1,500 e to the 0.675 times t. So again, in your calculator, you're going to want to have parentheses around that whole thing. So we've got 1,500 times, and then second natural log, 0.675 times 6, again, making sure that's in parentheses. Close it, and we get the new amount. That seems a little high because I forgot this 0 right here. So 1,500 times e to the 0.0675 times 6, and then that's going to make a little more sense. So $2,248.95 is how much money she's going to have in the bank. And so notice she's not quite there to the $2,500 mark. And so the answer is no, she will not have enough money for the down payment. All right, so take a moment to read the next question and compare the formulas for compound interest. So what that means is on this first one, since we're compounding semi-annually, we're going to use the formula from yesterday. And then this one is saying compounded continuously, so we're going to use A is equal to PERT. So then the question is going to be, which one is going to give me more money when I'm done? So taking a look at this first one, we're going to have $1,250 as our principal. We've got 1 plus the rate is going to be 0.085. The number of times per year is talking about how many times per year it's compounded. And so semi-annually means n is equal to 2, and then to the power of 2 times 3. So that means we're going to have 1250 times parentheses 1 plus 0.085 divided by 2, close the parentheses, to the power of parentheses 2 times 3, and we get $1,604.60 if we round to the nearest penny. If we look at the second one, we've got 1,250 e to the 0.085, same interest rate, times 3, same amount of time. So notice, same principal, same interest rate, same time, but now we're compounded continuously, which is why we use the formula with the e in it. So if we plug this in, we're going to say 1250 times e to the power of 0.085 times 3 gives me $1,613.08. Okay, so notice it's not a ton more money, but it is more money. And so we would say that the second formula, or the more we compound, the more interest is earned. Okay, so whether I'm compounding twice a year or continuously. All right, so again, we want to take a moment to compare the formulas based upon the compounded interest. So pause the video and see if you can come up with the answer to this, like which one is better. All right, so I added in the formulas that we're going to use, and I added in the things that we knew. So some of the things that were a little different was here we have 5 years and 3 months. So that's going to be 5 and 3/12 if we want to talk about years, because there's 12 months in a year. Or we could call that 5.25 years. And so that's going to be up here, 5.25 years. And same here, 5.25 years. Sorry about the little mess right there. And then this top one says compounded monthly. So that means that my n value is going to be 12. Okay, so now that you know that, go ahead and plug those in your calculator and see if you can answer the question. So for the top equation, we got $3,571.99. And the bottom one, we got $3,575.03. So notice we're closing that gap because instead of twice a year, we did monthly. And then this one remained compounded continuously. But notice again, compounded continuously gives us more money than just compounded monthly. And so the thing that we're trying to get across to you is the more times you can compound per year, the more interest that you can make.